do you learn about leadership? Well, this past week, I was in Panama City, Panama, at the U.S. Global Trade Summit for Women, and it was remarkable. I'm here to tell you. I might still be a little sleep deprived. I was there for 60 hours. I arrived at 5 a.m. My flight cut in from Denver at 5 a.m. to Panama City. The conference started on Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon at 1, and I left the following Tuesday at 5 p.m. It was a whirlwind. I met remarkable women from around the world. There were people there from the U.S. commercial services representing all of Latin America and some of South America. There were entrepreneurs there from all over the world and some other remarkable leaders. And I'm going to share with you what I learned from one of them that is so exciting. I met the U.S. ambassador to Panama, Mari Carmen Aponte, and she is a history maker in her own right. So I'm so excited to share with you what I learned from her since we're still celebrating Women's History Month. You might notice this little pin on my blazer, a crown. I'm going to share with you too. I met royalty, and next week I'm going to share with you what I learned from her. Now here's the thing. Why is women's leadership so important? First of all, it's the right thing to do. When the tide rises, all boats rise. And I truly believe that in my heart. And if you know me, you know that my purpose and my highest values are learning and love and creating value for others. So I want to share with you, first of all, again, some data. McKinsey did a recent survey that showed that only 25% of employees believe that the leadership in their corporations can inspire and motivate them. Leaders, CEOs, believe that only 7% of CEOs in Fortune 500 companies, and this was done by Fortune magazine, believe that the leadership coming up through the ranks is well equipped to serve in the next few years. And finally, companies that have women in leadership have 25% more profit. So there are a lot of reasons that having more women in leadership is powerful. So where do we learn about this? Well, I want to share with you today. Again, this event was remarkable. So we were in Panama City, and I planned to do my video from there this week, but yeah, that didn't happen just because it was packed so full. So, Mari Carmen Aponte. She was the first Puerto Rican woman to graduate from law school in the United States back in 1979. And since then, she has created lots of firsts, been the first in a lot of different areas. She was the first partner in a law firm in the United States. She has now served her country in, she was the first woman ambassador, first Puerto Rican woman ambassador in the United States, and now she's serving as the ambassador to Panama, and I got to meet her. When I first saw her, she was on the stage at the summit, and she had this powerful presence. She was raised in the United States, she was raised in Puerto Rico, and she was just clearly so passionate about her role in trade and what we can do as women and as leaders in trading in Latin American countries. And one of the things she said that really I hadn't heard before, and it really struck a nerve, is that having business agreements and trade with other countries that are democracies helps strengthen our democracy, which I just loved. I thought that was remarkable. So that was on Sunday, and then on Monday evening, all of us, there were 160 of us from different businesses, entrepreneurs, and then there were, like I said, there was the U.S. Commercial Trade Service, and there were about 80 of them in and we've got some pictures to show you. So we went to the ambassador's home, and there was an incredible reception, and I got to learn a lot about the Panamanian culture and the Panamanian food, again, even though I was only there for a very short time. And I was really wanted to meet this ambassador just because I feel like she has a story. This is Women's History Month, and she's obviously a remarkable woman who's had a big impact not only on our country, but on global trade. And I feel like that is a very powerful presence, and I wanted to get to know her. So the person who I met with through the U.S. Trade Services said that he would introduce me to her. Well, he was busy talking, and I went up, and I was a little bit nervous. I'm not gonna trick you about that, but I was a little nervous because, this woman is formidable, and she's awesome, and she has so much experience. So I went up and I introduced myself to her, and I thanked her for such a remarkable event and her entire staff. I mean, it was a huge undertaking to have not only all of us at this diplomat's home. I had never been to an embassy before, but it was a huge event. And then the Global Trade Summit was also this remarkable event, and I just felt so honored to be a part of it. So I went and I introduced myself. And the thing that was so great that I learned, she's just like the rest of us, And not that I didn't know that, but it was just such a great affirmation and a confirmation to say, you know what, this is a woman of power. This is a woman who, has a lot of influence in her world. Well, she spoke from the podium, and the person who was her representative who had been at the conference wrote notes for her and wrote a talk for her. And I spoke with him afterwards, and he said, she was so inspired by all of the women entrepreneurs there, she didn't use her notes at all. He says she always uses her notes. She always goes with, what I put in front of her. And she didn't. She went off script. And here's what she said that I wanted to share with you. She said, it is time for us to wake up. She said, so many people go through life. Now, I don't think the women who watch this channel are doing this, but it really inspired me to wake up even more, to think about and to know deeply that I am here for something bigger. I'm here for more influence. I'm here for more impact. I'm gonna see if we can put a clip in here with her talking about it's time to wake up. And if you feel like, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way, like that I'm not awake, but use that energy and that fire inside to really make a difference, to have an impact. And that's what I'm bringing to you from Mari Carmen Aponte from Panama City, Panama. So I would love to hear, what are you waking up to? What have you learned this week? Who is someone who's inspired you, who's motivated you, who's empowered you this week? Think about this week. I know that we all have people in our lives that throughout the years have shared and given very generously. I know that's true for me. But I want you to think about something that you've learned this week. Write it down, put it in the comments, and share with us, because I'd love to know, what are you learning, right? We've got an opportunity. This is not Women's Leadership Month, Women's History Month. You can look up Mari Carmen Aponte and see all of the things where she's been a trailblazer, where she's been the first. And next week, like I said, I'm going to share with you some lessons from a princess. And then the following week, I'm going to share with you some lessons that I've learned from the other entrepreneurs in that community. So we have a summit coming up, our Spring Forward event that I would love to have you attend. Also, I've got a free download for you. It is from February, but it is just as relevant this month in really digging into what do you love, because what do you love really can influence how you show up in the world. Please leave a comment, subscribe, and if you have not, share with somebody who you think would find this content useful and help empower them, and share something that you've learned in this community. Thanks so much for showing up today. I am Julia Ulstrup, the Leadership Accelerator for Women, and I am delighted that you are part of our community. Bye.
Mari Carmen Aponte.
Thank you, Tim. Cynthia, welcome. You know, some people you meet, and in the first 30 seconds, you know they have been with you all your life. That is Cynthia. I am so glad that she decided to come